and it had every possible strike against it, except it generally ran. From 2006 until 2010, I started and ran an exotic car rental company here in Atlanta, Georgia. And from 09 to 15, with some overlap there, I was the director of sales at Lamborghini Atlanta. Starting in 2016, we launched the VINwiki app. I got into the vehicle history space. And throughout that time, I was able to learn just about everything there is to know about Lamborghinis from 2000 until 2015. We've helped a lot of banks and recovery agencies, repo men, rental companies learn more about how to document their cars and certainly how to find them when they get stolen, because we've helped to recover a few stolen Lamborghinis, some in 2016, another one in 2018, and I get contacted about weekly with somebody who's missing a car for whatever reason, and we do our best to help them find them. Obviously, these thieves are getting pretty smart, and it's getting easier and easier to change the cars and hide the cars and move them far enough away that they don't get found. But throughout that process, I've sort of become the guy who's always ready to write a check for a really cool car in really terrible condition or with a really bad story, because quite honestly, it usually makes them really good deals. And when I was growing up aspiring to own and drive exotic cars, I didn't care so much about ever having a perfect one. I wanted to get one as soon as possible. But unfortunately, when you're young dreaming about cars, most of the time you're not the first person they call when they want to sell one cheap that comes with a sordid past. And so I got a call about 6 months ago from an insurance company, and they had actually discovered some information in our VINwiki app about a car that they owned but that was stolen from one of their clients. And so they had insured an exotic car rental company here in Atlanta. There aren't many still functioning, and there are not many insurance companies that will actually insure them, but this was a real claim on a real car that was out for rental, and then somebody came in, fake papers, fake identification, fake insurance. They got the car, and it was never seen again. That happened back in around 2018. And so again, about 6 months ago, this guy calls me. He says, "Hey, can you tell me any more about this picture that we've seen in your app, what metadata was available?" And we were able to tell him, where the photo was taken, when it was posted, and who the user was, but the user didn't own the car. And it had just been, they typed in the VIN and made a post of an interesting car they saw. And they could see later in the car's timeline that originally the car was Rosso Vic, or Rosso Efesto is what the color was named after Vic Coulian stole all the money from Volkswagen Credit and Lamborghini. So Rosso Vic became Rosso Efesto. It's a dark, metallic, sort of ruby red. My second LP640 was that color, actually. But a gorgeous spec with a tan interior, but the car had been stolen, and in the picture they'd sent me that was from our app, it had actually been painted kind of a matte army green. But they told me that the car had been recovered by the Virginia State Police. In fact, it had been seized in a drug investigation. And so they knew where the car was, and they were told that once the investigation was over, at that time they thought a few days from then, they would be given the car back. Now the car had been painted again, so it was now rattle can orange after being green, after being red originally. They had swapped out the odometer because Carfax had shown that at one point the car had about 53,000 miles, but they said that it now showed something in the 30s. It turned out it was about 35,000 miles. They said that the car was running and driving, but it had some error lights on. They'd had some electrical issues they'd had to deal with, but it was sitting in the Virginia State Police impound. Now, just like the cars we recovered back in 2016, the cars had been VIN swapped, and so the badging on the door jamb and under the dash had been replaced with a fraudulent VIN. It was generally constructed like a Lamborghini VIN, but the last of the VIN sequence, which would have been the build number, was well beyond the 14,022 units that were ever built. Some of the middle check digits and things were wrong, and so it was designed to kind of pass original inspection, but it wasn't ever going to really work. And so they had this car, and they didn't really know what to do with it. They were accustomed to selling some repossessed cars and some found cars, discovered cars, and things like that, but never something so exotic. And so they said, "Ed, would you like to buy it?" And I was effectively the only person they were going to offer it to, as long as we could come to a good number. Now, it was a 2013 Lamborghini Gallardo LP550-2 Spider. So this was in the later generations of the Gallardo. When you think about a cheap Lamborghini, usually you're thinking about 04, 05, 06, even like my Flood Gallardo from Car Trek. And so the idea that this probably cheap Lamborghini was actually a later example, I thought was pretty interesting, and it had every possible strike against it, except it generally ran. Like when I bought the prostitute's Lamborghini back in, what was that, 2011, that car was 30,000 bucks, but it really didn't run. It needed a clutch, it needed a rear main seal, it was leaking everywhere, and so after 20,000 more, 50,000 total invested, the car ran just fine. This car, already ran pretty okay. All it needed was the VINs to be replaced, maybe clean it up a bit cosmetically if you're so inclined, and then just go drive it. And so I was assuming, since the car in perfect shape with low miles might be worth today in the inflated collector and exotic car economy, maybe 130, 140,000 bucks, maybe they'd want half that, something like that. So I let them say the first number, always a good idea in shrewd negotiation, and their first number was 40,000 bucks. And of course, even though that was far less than I thought the car was probably worth, I was like, whew, 40 grand. I don't know who's going to pay you that. I mean, all these things wrong with it, all you'd have to spend to make it nice. I don't know. I was thinking 30 grand. And he said, yeah, we kind of thought so too. We were hoping to swing a little bit higher, but why don't we just split it? And you know, in this situation, to be quite honest, I was very happy to meet right smack dab in the middle at $35,000. Now, unfortunately, and like happens a lot of times in cases like this, even though we had a deal and the car was supposed to be available a few days or a week later, months went by. And I would occasionally hear from them, yeah, they're still looking at it, they're fingerprinting everything, trying to figure out, you know, if there were any more drugs hidden in the car or anything like that. So it's just sitting there, and so it just never was available. And quite honestly, I forgot about it. But then, a couple of weeks ago, they called and they said, Ed, the car is ready. And I said, really? How about that? Well, I suppose I should come get it. And we were just finishing up the filming of Car Trek 6, which will air sometime in December of this year. And so I said, well, I need to go up there with a trailer, I presume, and pick this thing up. So I asked him who to make the check out to. The two people that were sort of in the equation gave me two different insurance companies. So I had to take a $35,000 check to one insurance company and a $35,000 check to the other one, and know that I'd be redepositing the other one. So Jared from Wrench Every Day, Freddie's assistant on his channel, he was able to come with his trailer, and we road tripped right on up to Virginia. So we met the investigators at the Virginia State Police headquarters. They had this car in a razor wire fence with all their other cool special ops police cars and SWAT team vehicles and stuff like that. A few other burnt up cars, crushed car, all this stuff. It was just amazing. But the car, you know, from a long way away, looks really, really nice. It is the updated headlights, the updated bumpers, the updated taillights, all these things. I like orange cars. This one was not painted well, but finally they bring me the key, which had been remade. It no longer has the remote. It's literally just a cut key, which I didn't even know was possible. But I open the already unlocked car, hop right in, put the jump box on it, and the thing starts. Now there's a handful of error lights and things like that, and obviously it's full of spiders and things. It was just a disgusting car. Smelled terrible, but I put it into gear, drove it around the parking lot, and then right up onto the trailer without really any issue. Now, they told me that the top wasn't working at the time, and you know, the wheels that were on it were aftermarket, very badly damaged, so I knew I was going to need to just find a set of takeoffs. Plenty of people put aftermarket wheels on. They drive a whole lot better with the stock ones, and in fact, I found that a friend of mine had just sold his LP550 with some aftermarket wheels, and so he had a set of the Callisto wheels sitting around, so I popped those on the car. I dropped it off with my mechanic, and he said, you know, Ed, it's not a terrible automobile. It looks bad and it seems like it would be bad, and it has a lot of things that it needs, but other than a ton of neglected maintenance that he did, plugs, filters, every fluid, all the things. He worked on some of the air vent realignment and just reinstalling some stuff. The carpet was pulled out of it. He spent a lot of time with the top, and he said there was a leak in the valve body of the top that regulates the pressure to all the little hydraulics and the micro switches and stuff like that. And that is really where these cars can screw up, just ask Freddie. But the top wasn't working. He had an old one that he had kind of rebuilt and serviced, and so he tried to put that one in, but he said still just it needs to be totally reset with the factory. So he left the top down, as a convertible ought to be, and after servicing it, he had pretty much all the error lights on. The only things left are the spoiler motors are not working, so it shows you that the spoiler's out, and one of the turn signal bulbs is not, I guess the sensor for it isn't working. The turn signals work just fine. So those two lights are on, but everything else just works great. The car goes really fast. It makes a great noise. It starts right up. The e-gear system, you can hear it pressurizing. It sounds great. It's working well. The car is awesome. So I drove it back from his shop, Casey Carden Motorsports up at Road Atlanta. Back here, I put about 150 miles on it, going through all the steps to get a title issued to me in the state of Georgia after the theft recovery and all that. But it's a car. And that's the coolest thing about terrible history cars, is they can be made into perfectly drivable examples of a car that even anybody who sees the condition is going to assume that it's way more valuable. So I was sort of faced with, now, what do I do with this car? And a couple of weeks ago, as many of you saw, and as I made a video about, I had just accumulated so many cars. I had 15 cars at the time, and now we've seen a whole bunch of other YouTubers do exactly what I did, but I just decided to make an Instagram post and say all my stuff is for sale. And out of those 15 cars, I ended up selling 9 of them. Now, this one I listed for sale essentially just to sort of tease that it was there, because quite honestly at that point I didn't know what to do with it. But I said I'd bought the cheapest functional Lamborghini on earth for $35,000, because right now even a Urraco or an Espada or a Jarama or a Silhouette or anything like that, you couldn't buy a running and driving Lamborghini for any cheaper than this anywhere on the planet. And so I thought that was a pretty interesting accolade, and honestly it's a much nicer Lamborghini than you would normally expect to get as the cheapest Lamborghini on earth. And so I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but it started a lot of conversations with people that were interested in trying to buy it, people that wanted to do interesting things with it, and people that just wanted to know what it was, because I was a little bit cryptic in my details. But I had a call scheduled that day with one of our sponsors called Sway. Like this shirt, SWAE. And I had met these guys, the whole Sway team, on the Gold Rush rally this year. They had an amazingly gorgeous and built Huracan that was gold carbon fiber. And they had a full Prevost RV. They'd given everybody an amazing bag of swag with these great jackets and amazingly comfy shirts and stuff like that. But for all the presents that Sway had on Gold Rush, none of us exactly knew what they were. And they had amazing cars, they'd given us amazing clothes, jackets, and shirts that were very, very comfortable. But again, we didn't know what they did. So throughout the week, I started to talk to some of their representatives, and they explained that Sway is really almost a skunk works brand, where they use engineering and resources to help creative and inspirational people achieve their dreams. So they wanted to find different special projects and things like that that they could partner with people and then end up with these amazing products. They've got a robotic dog, they've got a fleet of exotic cars, they do amazing clothing, they're doing a lot of special development with tons of different projects. So I hear all of this and I'm like, that sounds amazing. And I start telling them, in fact, about one of my personal automotive dreams that I've not yet realized, and they loved it. And so that began a partnership several months ago that will go well into next year and probably into 2023. With one of my personal automotive dreams that they're going to help me, hopefully, to fulfill. And so we had a call scheduled that week, and they said, Ed, what's the deal with this cheap Lamborghini? And they didn't know that much about cheap Lamborghinis. Most of their cars, like their Huracan, is, gold carbon fiber built with every possible part. And I said, well, it's a $35,000 Gallardo that has the worst past you've ever heard about. They brought up an amazing idea of what we could do with it, and they were willing to support me in that effort as well. And so that's what's going to happen, but I'm not going to talk about that today. That'll be in the next video, but it's a much better thing than me making it nice, eventually selling it for a profit, or doing a whole lot of driving in it myself. And I know that everyone will love it. But I was so excited to have the car. I'm very excited that it's still here. I'm going to do a lot more driving in it over the next few weeks, but stay tuned until next week for what's going to happen next with the cheapest functional Lamborghini on earth. If you want to learn more about Sway or buy some of their amazing clothes for yourself, you can visit them at the link in the description below. They're an amazing supporter of VINwiki, my personal automotive dreams, and this channel. So thank you so much for supporting them, and thanking them for supporting VINwiki. Also, this month of Car Stories is brought to you by Avalon King. They're one of our biggest sponsors of 2021, and we can't thank them enough. They've got a special deal even before Black Friday for their Avalon King Armor Shield 9 ceramic coating. So be sure to check them out at the link in the description below as well.